All right, thanks everybody for hopping on to this call this afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. My name is Katie, and just everybody who's on this call or who may have invited you is super excited to have you here and know that they care about you if you've been invited to hop on this event or watch this recording. And again, we're glad that you're here, and we're going to learn a little bit more about some incredible plant powders, as you saw from the flyer or the invite, Juice Plus. And whether or not you're a parent or a caregiver of younger or older children, or if you're pregnant or looking to be pregnant, then this is definitely the call for you. So again, my name is Katie. A little bit about myself. I am currently a first-time pregnant mom, so I'm 16 weeks pregnant right now. Could not be more excited, and we're having a little boy, so he's cooking away right now, and I could not be more excited about bringing this little guy into the world. And we're going to all talk a little bit more about our stories here, but I mean, Juice Plus for me was kind of a no-brainer. It's, important to get great nutrition, especially when you're pregnant. And right now, he's definitely my first priority. And I started taking Juice Plus about 5 years ago. Christy, who is on this call, introduced them to me and shared them with me. And at first, I was like, no, I don't really need those. I'm fine. I've got, my diet foods over here that I'm eating, and I'm great. But, things change. And she convinced me that I should at least try it. And I haven't really looked back since then. I'm a recruiter turned yoga teacher. And I know things kind of sound like they're all peachy and great, but life has not always been this great. I have definitely had my fair share of issues. About 4 years ago, I lost my husband in a motorcycle accident after only being married for 3.5 weeks. And so that was a huge blow to this whole life that I had built for myself. You always have these plans. I think you get those plans when you're trying to get pregnant or you are pregnant. You get these plans set in your head and you think everything's going to be perfect. And life kind of derailed a little bit then. But, life has now changed. I've gotten through a lot of that. And, I'm engaged. The baby is due when I was supposed to get married. So I think that's some fun timing right there. So we're making those adjustments. But now I'm at this new stage in life, and, I'm really excited that I've had Juice Plus in my system for over 5 years, because I've got what I feel like is a really great storage of folate built up into my body, which, as we know, is extremely important while you're pregnant and helping with all kinds of things, within the body. And my story it's kind of simple. Like I said, I'm only pregnant. I'm 16 weeks right now. But, I definitely got that fair share of people talking to me about their horror stories once they found out I was pregnant. I know you know what I'm talking about. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody wants to tell you, like, what's good, what's bad, blah, 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 blah. It happens. Sometimes some of you have to just take with a grain of salt, I guess. But so far, it's been really good. I mean, little nausea in the first trimester. We've got a couple different products that we'll talk about more, but I took our chewables and our capsules and some really delicious shakes during the first trimester, and it definitely helped. Christy's going to laugh when she hears me talk about this, but if you're pregnant or if you've had a baby, you know that the main thing people always talk about is that they get constipated. And Christy knows that I can barely say the word. I can barely say the word poop. So I'm going to say it. Poop. It's hard to say, but I'm going to have to get used to it. And so everybody talks about that being like the biggest issue that they have. And I am here to say, thankfully, I have not been having that issue. And I hear, I have a poor friend, she hasn't gone for a while. And I'm very grateful that these plant powders are helping me not feel terrible in the stomach. And thank you, Christy. I said the word. I hope you're happy that I have said it because it was really hard. So a couple other things. I've just been pretty energetic. Now, granted, I'm in the second trimester, but overall, I felt really great. My blood work has kept showing up it's pristine. It's been great. The doctors had no issues with it. I'm using Juice Plus as my prenatal, and we're sitting good right now. So that's my brief, small story for right now. It's sure to change over the next few months, and I'm excited just to see what happens, you know, further down the road, and especially after this little guy arrives. So that's my story. Thank you for listening. I will pass it along to one of our next amazing storytellers.
Hi. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Awesome. So I'm Erica. About me, been on Juice Plus now about a year. Yeah, 1 year. It feels like it's been forever. Introduced me as well. And when I met Christy, it was actually at a really great time. My husband was actually deployed. At the time, I had just moved to the area, and I had actually left work early, and I had went to an event, and I met her, and it couldn't have been better. And it really just made sense to me right away. So, yeah, so I started Juice Plus, and then shortly after, I had always had a lot of medical issues. So I have had over 13 different surgeries. But when my husband had came back from deployment, we had been married about 2 years, and we had really wanted to start a family. So I had went to the doctor, and that is when I found out. They told me that I had polycystic ovary syndrome, which is also known as PCOS. So when they told us that, I had been on Juice Plus then for about 7 months, I believe. And I had been going to the doctor, and they had found the symptoms and everything. They're like, well, it probably is going to be really hard for you guys to get pregnant. And so right whenever we were going to start going to treatment and stuff, and I was like, well, I don't really want to start doing, we were going to try like in vitro and all these different things. And then we decided we didn't want to do that. So we're like, well, if it happens, it happens kind of thing. So my husband was actually getting ready for a second deployment, and I decided that I wanted to join the Air Force Reserves. So I had actually left. A lot of people don't know that. I had actually signed up for the Air Force, and I had left to go to MEPS, MEPS and everything, which is where, they kind of do like all your in processing and stuff. And I went through all the process, and they were like, well, we have to do a pregnancy test. So they did the pregnancy test, and that is actually when I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter. So you can't. I didn't believe it, and I was like, I don't think it's right. And I'm like, whatever. So I left, and I was upset and crying and everything. And I came back home, and my husband was actually away at training for his deployment. Because I'm like, hey, I could be pregnant and everything. So I took 8 pregnancy tests, and they were all positive. But I didn't tell anybody because I was still like really afraid. I was still really scared. And I'm like, it's not right. I still didn't believe it. So I didn't tell anybody. My husband had came home, and I had took one of the tests, and I put it in a box and everything, and I gave it to him. He was like, is this yours? And I'm like, yeah, so we're pregnant. We're really excited, but we still didn't share. We went to the doctor, test and blood work and everything, and everything was fine. We didn't share that I was pregnant until I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant, because of that. So then everything was going good. I got diagnosed about 5 months through my pregnancy with hyperemesis, which is like, I threw up my entire pregnancy. I was on about 6 different nausea medications. And then everything was completely fine. I was working, commuting, and everything to work. I was on the plant powders. I use those also as my prenatal. Because of my nausea and because I threw everything up, I always did the shakes. That was like really the only thing that I could ever keep down. And I had to do the gummies too, because the capsules, I would literally throw everything up. But sometimes I couldn't even drink water. I would get hospitalized a lot because I would get dehydrated because I kept throwing up. I went to my maternity leave for my doctor, and my doctor was kind of running behind schedule, and the nurse was like, well, we're gonna just get some quick vitals on you. It was 100, it was like 192 over 102, so I had to stay in the hospital, and that is when I got diagnosed with preeclampsia. So I had to stay in the hospital for 2.5 months. rest. The only thing I could do was get up and go to the bathroom. So that was kind of a big adjustment for us. I was initially at the hospital here, local at Womack, but I didn't stay there. So they were going to ship me to UNC because I had to be a level 4 hospital because that NICU couldn't handle a baby that small if I were to have her. So long story short, I ended up getting sent to a level 4 hospital to do my 2-month hospital stay. There I brought my Juice Plus there, which I had to use in my plant powders. I had to send it down to the pharmacy there. They had to check it was in it because you can't administer yourself any medication while you're in the hospital. They had to administer it to me. So they had to do a quality check and all this stuff on it to make sure that what the bottle said was in it was in it. And that is completely what I took. During that time, they were trying to basically get me to stay as long as I could before my daughter was born. They ended up having to take her at 30 weeks because my blood pressure did not get back down to the medication or anything. So I ended up having her at 30 weeks. And when I had her, the doctor had told me that they had all this stuff set up for her for breathing treatment. She was never born. When she was born, she was never on any breathing machine, any oxygen, nothing. She came out at 30 weeks breathing on her own, which the doctor said he had not seen in about 19 plus years, a 30-weeker to be born breathing on their own. Because it was 2 pounds, 9 ounces. So whenever she was there, after 2 weeks of being there every single day for 2 weeks, she had a feeding tube in her nose. Every single day for about that hour, they were like, and doctor was, oh, she has to have eat on her own. My nurse was like, let's just try it. They gave her a bottle, and after a week and a half, she was eating on her own out of a bottle at 30 weeks old. So she was actually 31 weeks, and she was eating on her own out of a bottle. And she was completely on breast milk, so she was getting Juice Plus as well through the breast milk and everything. 2 months after that, she came home. She's been home ever since April 7th. She's now 3 months old. She's about 13 and a half pounds. She's 3 months adjusted. That's her adjusted age because she's a preemie. She's rolling over. She's holding her. She doesn't have any setbacks as of right now. And I honestly think all of that is because of Juice Plus, because of nutrition that she had. I went back and afterwards. They had to do like a checkup and everything, and they have to see more symptoms for me of having PCOS. So they told me that I don't have it anymore, or that I don't have the symptoms for it anymore. So, yeah, I think that also is accounted to Juice Plus because I haven't done anything else besides that. So it's just really a blessing that I have my daughter and that I don't have PCOS anymore. We don't currently have any more kids, but yeah, the symptoms have any of the issues that I was having before. So it's just a really good blessing, and I'm so glad that I had it in my life, and it really changed my life, and it also gave me life. So I'm forever grateful. Now that's my story. I'll pass it on to the next person.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. Let's see, we have been taking Juice Plus for, I think we are 4.5 years now. And I started taking Juice Plus because I was sick and tired of being sick. We had suffered is the right word, I guess, with infertility we've been trying to get pregnant for 8 years, and had done so many rounds of so many things, and basically had given up. And we had gotten our list for our next PCS, and they were all overseas. So Brian was like, let's try IVF at Walter Reed. And I was like, okay. Didn't really want to, wasn't excited about it. But that's what we decided to do as a family. So I used Juice Plus the whole time, and I talked about it with the doctors there. Obviously, they were like, this is just food, so it's fine. I tripled up because I was concerned about all of the hormones that I was injecting into myself, and just wanted my insides to be as healthy as possible. So I tripled up, and I drank 2 shakes a day during the whole it was almost 6 weeks, I guess, process. At the beginning, we had 7 embryos extracted, and on the last day we had Harper. And we have Harper, who's about to be 2 years old. I can't believe it. I was sick also the whole pregnancy. So the first trimester, I lost a good bit of weight, but Harper was healthy the whole time, thankfully. And she was born at 40 weeks and 1 day. So full term, healthy Juice Plus baby, who now asks for her plus every day. She says plus. But what I really wanted to share was something that I have not ever really shared before. I had a very difficult labor, and I was in labor for 46 hours. And so I was really sick the entire time. And so at about the 30-hour mark, I was on 8 bags of fluid. So by the time they still had to give me more fluid even after Harper was born. And I was so swollen. It was like I felt like my skin was going to burst. And I remember that the family practice doctor who was a resident told me that it was probably going to take about 6 weeks for all of the swelling to go down. So we had the Juice Plus in the hospital with us, and we were, after she was born, I had an emergency C-section. We left within 48 hours. And the next day after I got home, I drank like 3 shakes, and 4 mornings after she was born, all of my swelling was gone. I was totally back to not swollen anything. I mean, obviously I still had a baby bump because those don't disappear. But I literally had 0 swelling. And so when I went for my 3-week checkup, the midwife was like, wow. But anyways, I've never really shared that before. I don't know why. I just probably was traumatized after being in labor for 46 hours. But I thought that I wanted to share that. And so I will pass it off to the next person.
Hi, I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself. I am Ashley. I am a 24-year-old stay-at-home mom. I keep thinking about like when I was introduced to this. My story starts before that. I little over 2 years ago, well over 2 years ago, got pregnant with my daughter. And I was 22 and didn't really care, about what I was putting in my body or anything. People would talk to me about it. But I always figured that I had good genes. Like my mom was a bodybuilder and she's a personal trainer. Like I'm fine. Like I'll be okay. And then I had my daughter, and I was very strict about everything that we put into our bodies and her body. Something just shifted because I knew that, one, I had had a miscarriage prior to her, and I knew that like this is my life. She's my life, and I want the best for her, for my kiddos. So we started changing. We changed our diet. We changed the way we stayed active, everything. And then about I would say a year and a half ago, my daughter was a little before she was 1. I got forcefully introduced to Juice Plus by my mom, who was taking the product and then jumped on this bandwagon, and she pretty much shoved it down my family's throat. She mailed it to us and said, here you go, take it. And I was like, okay, Mom, like whatever. So my daughter has been on it a little before she was a year. So she turned 2 in April. So she's been on the gummies the whole time. She drinks a shake almost every day. And she says the same thing. She wants her plus and she wants her shakes. And it's awesome. I mean, it's amazing. And I wish, like I think about back when I was pregnant with her, I wish I would have had this when I was pregnant, because now I'm 25 weeks pregnant with our second. And I just found out the other day that we're having a girl. And I wasn't supposed to find out, but I begged for everybody to tell me because I wanted it to be a surprise, but then I couldn't wait any longer. So we're having our second girl. Been on Juice Plus this whole time. And I have noticed such a difference
one, with my energy, I always thought that being pregnant the second time, I was going to be so tired chasing a toddler that I was just going to be so out of it. And it's been amazing. Like, I feel like I have had more energy than I did with her. I was swollen. I would say the second half of my pregnancy with my daughter, I was pretty swollen, and I didn't have preeclampsia, I didn't have anything. I was on my feet all the time, and I just wasn't really taking care of myself. I wasn't fueling my body the way that I should have been. And things have definitely changed since Juice Plus with that. And this time around, the whole constipation thing, I didn't really think about that at all until you talked about that. It is so true. Like, it was unbearable with my first, and especially after. And now it's like, I don't have that problem. Like you said, I don't have that problem at all. And that's a relief, because, man, that's like, it's a horror story that people do talk to you about. And I didn't think about that at all. And my labor with my daughter, it wasn't very, it was long for me, I guess. But it ended up with a assisted delivery, and it wasn't the way that I had hoped. You go into that with this plan, and now taking care of my body differently and staying active and fueling my body the way that I need to be. I double it up on Juice Plus. So I take extra of that and fueling my body that way. I'm going into this, hopefully, this birth unmedicated and just ready to just take it all on. Everything has changed, just the way that I feel and the way that I like the nausea and everything, a little bit like you had said too, in the first trimester, kind of normal, whatever. But with my daughter, I was nauseous the entire time, and there were things that I could not eat. Now I just want to eat everything, but it's all the good stuff. Like, I craved bagels and chocolate with my daughter. And this time I sometimes still crave chocolate, of course, but I can have it in a shake, and I get totally fulfilled by that. And it's just been a blessing. My husband just, I would say about 6 weeks ago, he cuts trees for the power line companies, and he was up in a tree and lost. The tree came down on his leg, and has been out of work now I would say it's almost 8 weeks now. And just having this and knowing that he was going to go into surgery, I totally doubled him up. I'm like, just take all of it. Like, you need to get better. His doctor was so shocked. Like, I don't know. I'd love to equate it to Juice Plus. She's like, he's healing so fast. He looks awesome for the amount of surgery that we did, like all the plate and screws that they had to do in his leg. She's like, he looks amazing. And that was a week after surgery. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much, Mom, for shoving all of this down my throat. I'm grateful. Like, I will listen to my mom, but it's just been amazing. And I'm just so grateful again for her and for all of you that have shared your story, and to listen to these amazing pregnancy and Juice Plus baby stories. It's just awesome to hear all this. So that's my story. I'll pass it on.
So, hey everybody, I'm Diana. I have been on Juice Plus twice, actually. The first time my friend introduced me to it because we used to lift together. She's a really good friend of mine. And when she explained it, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I understand that you need fruits and vegetables, but I already eat a lot. And she was like, but how many do you really eat? So finally, reluctantly, my husband and I were like, well, we'll split an order. So we started splitting it, actually, and this is, a long time ago, about 6 years ago. And we noticed that our recovery was still even better just doing that. Not even close to what it is now, but it was better. We were eating a lot better. And then I moved and decided to get into bodybuilding. I was a manager at a supplement store. So, of course, I canceled my Juice Plus and I got on tons of supplements. So I did a bodybuilding show, and it's an understatement to say that I was sore all the time. Like, I was just training super hard, sore constantly, tired, super cranky. Of course, I was also eating a crazy diet, if anyone understands what bodybuilding shows or dieting are like. So I did that. I did my bodybuilding show, and after that, I got pregnant. I found out I was pregnant 2 months after my show. So that was a wild ride for me. And at this point, like I said, I wasn't on Juice Plus. like everybody else, I was extremely nauseous. I lost 15 pounds in the first trimester, which I actually needed to lose because I gained 25 pounds after my bodybuilding show, but that's besides the point. So I gained all this weight, and I was so sick. I lost it all. And I went to my doctor. I couldn't even take my prenatals. They made me so sick. So I just stopped taking them altogether. I wasn't even taking them anymore. I went to my doctor with this vegan protein replacement that I'd been using for a while. And the first thing he said was, you need to eat real food. Like you can't be eating this. And this specific one that you're looking at has heavy metals in it. So of course that freaked me out, knowing that something that claims to be, vegan and was popular in my store had bad things in it. So that freaked me out. So I stopped. I called my friend who I knew was on Juice Plus and I had bought it from before. And I immediately was like, I'm going to do the business. I'm doing everything. Like I'm annoyed that I didn't do this before. Like I was just prideful. I didn't want to listen to you. That's just the kind of person that I am. I sometimes think that I know better and I don't want to listen to people. And this was a very humbling experience for me to listen to my friends that have been trying to tell me all along this is what was best for me. So I started taking it about 32 weeks of my first pregnancy. And guys, it was weird. Like within 2 weeks, I had so much more energy and I was actually able to eat again, like to eat normal foods. I was eating Taco Bell constantly. We got into arguments all the time about the food that I ate. It was ridiculous. Like all the terrible food. I was like, I can't cook at home. I can't eat regular food. Like this is the only thing that I can eat. That's all I ate. So I switched. I was eating salad again, like salad during pregnancy. Who does that? We had our son, and I actually got my first Juice Plus promotion within 2 weeks, Christy, and it was the day my son was born. I got my first promotion. So I had him, super, super happy baby, just gained weight like crazy. He's really awesome. But and then him growing up, he got on the gummies when he was old enough. He absolutely is obsessed with them, like everybody else said. And it's really nice knowing that I can give him the shake and he loves it and it's so good for him. Samson, actually, he just turned 2. He eats salad, which is odd. The kid eats salad. He is now a big brother, and Lainey is my daughter. She is almost 3 months old. And my pregnancy and postpartum experience couldn't be any different. So I had Samson. I got the epidural about an hour before I delivered him. I had a really fast, crazy labor because I was working out during the end of that pregnancy. So not the whole time, but I had previous workout experience. So with Lainey, I had no medical interventions. I had her all natural. So Ashley, you can totally do it. You're a rock star. You can do it. I had Lainey in a bathtub in a birthing center with my doula and my midwife, and they were like, that was the best birth I'd ever seen. Guys, like it was pure calm on my face. Like I just went into it with all good nutrition, like a good attitude. That's what this community does to you too. Like the whole health community gives you such a positive attitude. So some of the differences that I had with those experiences was, number one, my eating was completely different with them. I would tell Christy a lot that I pretty much became a vegan when I was pregnant with Lainey because I just craved so many plants that I just couldn't get enough of them. So that was a big thing. My energy levels, whenever I was pregnant with Lainey, so my second, I had a toddler, and I could chase that boy around like it was my job. Like I didn't have to, when I was sick, of course, because I was still sick the second time. It wasn't as bad and it wasn't as long. But I was able to chase him around. I had the best bowel movements ever. I was constipated with Samson. With Lainey, I was still my normal, regular, schedule. And then, but my postpartum bowel movement actually was completely comfortable. Like it actually is uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable the first time. But with her, it was completely fine. I was able to work out my entire second pregnancy because I completely attribute that to the nutrition that I was able to have during my pregnancy. The nutrition made a huge difference. My recovery has been completely different also. When I started working out again after Samson, I was so sore. I would go to the gym for I could only go maybe 2 days a week, I would say 2-3 days a week. Because I didn't have it in my system as long. But with Lainey, I had posted this previously on my own community, but I started half marathon training at 4.5 weeks postpartum, and I have not run in 2 years. And I went from running 1.5 miles 3 days later to 2 miles. I made up to 3 miles within a week, and my split time still went down, which of course that's partly athletic training, but the soreness, guys, like I was not sore. So that to me just speaks volume. So, yeah, it's just been super awesome. And having a toddler and a now baby that go in the nursery, they don't get sick ever. I mean, there will be kids that go to the same exact class as him. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, but he still goes to the same nursery. He still hangs out with the same kids at my Bible study. We go to Bible study 3 days a week, and then church once a week, and the gym 4 days a week. And that kid has never missed, except for maybe 3 times. And one was an ear infection, which really doesn't count. So it's just amazing what this has done for our family. So I don't see how people wouldn't want this just from the stories alone, even if it didn't make sense. So I'm grateful.
Well, I'm grateful for you and that you were open to sharing this. All of you all have incredible stories. Does anybody else who's on this call want to share their experience or their stories with it? Anyone? You don't have to. Okay, so one of the things that I just wanted to say real quick that I've heard from a few of you before, but I don't think we talked about it on here, and I heard from another person recently about it, is that their pregnancy with Juice Plus, or I guess the afterbirth, that's what I'm talking about, the umbilical cords and the placenta, everybody said that they noticed a huge difference between like, Diana, do you want to talk about this? I know you talked about it, so.
I don't have the picture on this new phone that I have, but so whenever Samson was born, his umbilical cord was probably like, hold on, I don't know if you can really, like this big, like around. Lainey's was probably double. I mean, not just that also. So I didn't see my placenta the first time, so that I can't speak to, but I saw her placenta. They showed it to me. I have a video and everything. It's crazy. But even like the fetal movement of her in the womb, that child is wild, which when you learn about child movement in utero, it is a lot of them trying to, help with their development of their bones and their organ or their ligaments and everything like that. So she had a lot more energy in the womb than Samson did. So just her movement there, which makes sense because my energy levels are better. I move more. So yeah, the cord was a lot bigger, and she's just been a completely different baby, really.
She's adorable. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, one of my, another Juice Plus distributor who's not able to be on this call, she told me that her midwife was really, really impressed with her placenta. She's like, this is one of the biggest placentas I have ever seen. And it's just because the babies are getting food as their nutrition. They're not getting these like micro-fragmented multivitamins, but you don't know what you don't know. And so if you're on this call for the first time and this is the first time that you're hearing about it, first off, like, don't feel bad about the fact that you've never given, your kids Juice Plus or you've never taken it before. I think people who are pregnant and parents in general get enough guilt out there about everything that they do. So this is definitely not the place that we're trying to guilt you into what you should have done, because again, you don't know what you don't know. And what we're talking about are these awesome fruit and veggie capsules. That's all it is. It's literally food in a capsule. It's not a vitamin. It's got a food label on it. So it's just food. The Juice Plus was really, it's like if you were juicing and you took all the water out and you took the sugar out and you just ground down all of the good stuff. Like that's what's in here. And we've got our berries, we've got our veggies and the fruits, and a couple people were talking about the shakes that they take. I have this at least once or twice a day right now. This saved me in the first trimester. While I didn't physically get sick, I was super nauseous in the mornings, and I made a smoothie every morning and put like some ice and some fruit and some spinach in it, and it soothed my stomach like nothing else. I would have some crackers afterwards too because that helped a lot, but definitely the smoothies. They help you stay regular too. My favorite thing. And I have to talk about like the newest thing that Juice Plus has come up with, which I'm so excited about because I was taking this for a year before getting pregnant, and that is vegan omegas. So I know your doctor is going to tell you like you need to take fish oil and because you need to get the omegas into your body. But the interesting thing about that is you actually don't need fish in order to get omegas into your body. So the fish are basically a byproduct of the omega. The omegas aren't naturally in the fish. The omegas are from what the fish are eating, like algae and plants in the oceans. And so Juice Plus has spent a lot of time figuring out how to get the best quality variety of omegas. I mean, it's not just one omega. There's like 3, 5, 7, 6, 9, all kinds of good stuff. You can look at it later if you're interested. But raise your hand if you have baby brain, because I do. And I definitely think that this has helped a little bit with it. I'm hoping. I'm a little forgetful as it is, but more importantly, my baby's brain is getting the omegas through me. And I can't think of anything better to do for my baby than to make sure that his brain is going to develop the way that it should and be getting all these fatty acids that it needs in there to form. So just wanted to like briefly talk about that. And again, the other thing, a couple people talked about their kids taking Juice Plus. That's the other really incredible thing, is that Juice Plus will actually give Juice Plus to a kid, to a child, for 4 years for free if an adult sponsors them. So like once this little guy is out and like able to, I don't know, you can give them the capsules, some of the powders really early on, but definitely going to be taking advantage of that. And if that interests you at all, definitely talk to the person that invited you. A lot of people mentioned that they were a stay-at-home mom. I'm also now, I teach yoga, but when I had those life changes that happened a few years ago, I was working full time and I was a slave to my job, and I don't want that now. And like, obviously we're getting ready to do a wedding coming up and we've got a baby. So finances are something that we think about. And I was talking to my fiance the other day and I was like, oh, it's really funny because like Juice Plus definitely has an incredible income that comes with it. And I decided to do the business a few years ago, but I was just saying to him, I was like, oh, because we just bought a new car too. And I was like, oh, maybe I should get just like a little part-time job down the street. And he's like, or you could work your Juice Plus business more because of residual income. And if you have not met him, this is a huge, huge step for him. So he sees the brilliance in it. He sees the benefits to being able to, for me to be at home, to be with our little one once he's here, but still being able to contribute to our family financially. And that's really important to me. I've worked my whole life. I started working when I was 15. I worked 2 jobs in college, put myself through, like, contributing and being self-sufficient is really important to me. And so I'm just super excited that I have the ability to be able to do that. I can do it now, while I'm pregnant, and I'll be able to do it and help other people. I mean, I can't think of a better thing than being able to share this incredible gift with other people. Like Christy shared it with me. So I'm just so grateful that she got out of her comfort zone and was like, maybe you should just like listen to this. So if you're skeptical, maybe just open up a little bit more, think about it. And know that the person who invited you to hop on this call or watch this recording definitely cares about you. As you can tell from all of the women on this, everybody has a huge heart. They just want to help, and they've opened up and shared their lives. So hopefully you'll find something that you can take away from this. And if you're interested, definitely just follow up with the person who invited you to this event. But thanks everybody for hopping on. If there's any questions, just let that person know. But have a good day. Bye.